It was another average day in Crime Rhyme City, and Epic Eric was at home, reading his favourite newspaper, the Daily Snail. "Cucumbers," proclaimed Eric. "Would you like salad with that?" said Normal Norman, Epic Eric's rather boring roommate. "Not now, Normal Norman," replied Eric. "There's no chicken, like, anywhere. The shelves are empty, and all we got is peas," Eric said in annoyance. "Well, I mean, it's better than eating a leg," said Norman jokingly. Eric ignores his naive roommate and started to think. "I've got it!" he exclaimed. "I've got a fan-double-tastic idea!" "Oh yes," Norman answered inquisitively. "We can make our own chicken. No KFC or cheap supermarket crap. We'll make it in the old-fashioned way," said Eric. "I mean, can we?" Norman replied in a confusing manner. "Of course! For God's sake, stop saying everything so negatively. We don't know until we try. Besides, it's very simple. Let's just look online," said Eric. So Eric and Norman go to their rather slow PC, only the finest in modern technology. They bought it from an old charity shop and it was only just £11. What they searched up, however, was far more complicated than they thought. "Oh, bugger biscuits!" shouted Eric. "That will take ages. We need to do something now," he said as his stomach started to rumble. "I know," said Norman. "We could ask around. Surely someone must know about chickens." "Crackerjack idea, my boy!" exclaimed Eric with excitement. "Finally, a good idea from you for once." "Yeah, thanks, mate. It is a really good idea," Norman replied with an unamused face. So they went off around the village to ask about chickens. Along the dirty sea was their old mate, Cap Tap. "Ahoy there, Cap!" shouted Eric. "Hello, lads," replied Cap Tap. "How are yous?" "Not too great, mate," said Eric. "We need to find some place with chickens or I'll go crazy in the mind." "Ah, no need for that, mate," said Cap Tap. "I know just a bloke to help you." "You do?" "Oh, fan-double-tastic!" exclaimed Eric. "Could you take us, perhaps?" "Ye bet your salty bottoms I can." "Hop on," Cap Tap said. They arrived on an island called Fresh Island. Norman wasn't too keen on the island, but Epic Eric was fully on board with it, pun intended. "Well, this is it," said Cap Tap, whose breath smells really horrible. "Looks empty," Norman said. "It's because we're not on the island yet," Eric said as he jumped off the boat. "Okay, now we're on the island," he said. "Oh, Norman was about to say until they heard... "Time to get clucked, mother cluckers," Eric exclaimed as he got his cleaver out. "Really? Had to go with that? Unbelievable," sighed Norman. "Have fun, boys," Cap Tap said as he left. Eric sprinted towards the noise, hungry for some fresh nuggets. Norman walked behind as he was looking all around this empty island. Nothing but grass and trees. Seems like a cliched island. At least there's no conch. "Aha!" said Eric. "I got you, feathered freaks, now! Time to face your greatest foe, my stomach!" Eric looked and looked, but only sees more trees than chickens. This must be a mistake, Eric said. Was it Cap-Tap's little joke? No wonder he drinks a lot. The smelly bastard, Eric said in a fit of rage. Suddenly, to his amazement, Eric saw a chicken. One lonely, brainless chicken. Eric approached it slowly and steadily, lifting the cleaver, ready for the kill, until a group of chickens held him at gunpoint. "Oh, bollocks," said Eric. Next thing, Eric is tied to a tree, surrounded by all the chickens. He tries to call Norman for help, but nothing. Meanwhile, Norman was looking for Eric. He sees the sign for Fresh Island and sees that the R in the fresh is peeling off. So Norman tries to stick it back on, but quickly saw something behind it. It was the letter L. Norman quickly picked up that it was a trap and runs off to find Eric. "Oh. Eric!" Norman shouted in fear. "This island is not what it seems." Eric interrupted. "Should have gone to Specsavers, you div." Norman ignores the blatant insult and tries to distract the chickens for Eric to escape. Which does work. Well, sort of. Eric wriggles out of the rope and now has a chainsaw? Well, I mean, it's an improvement over the cleaver. Anyways, Norman runs towards the sea. He stops and turns around to face the chickens. "Go ahead, I'm all yours. Make human soup out of my skin. Use my eyes for meatballs. If you have what it takes," Norman said with confidence, being the least normal thing he has ever said. Then Eric killed them all. "Oh hey," said Eric. "Fancy a chicken burger?" Then, bang! A chicken shot Eric in the chest. Guess it was waiting at the right time. Suddenly, Eric is awake. Is he dead? Has he ended up in a body bag? Or worse, flesh burgers? But as cliched as it is, it wasn't real. It was all a dream. Norman comes to see Eric. "You okay?" he said to Eric. "Oh, yeah. Just had the strangest dream, you know. I can't remember what happened. Never mind," Eric replied with a bit of hesitation. "Oh, well, sounded like one hell of a dream. Anyways, we're nearly here," Norman replied with so much enthusiasm. "Damn right, matey," said Cap-Tap. "In fact, we've arrived." "Farmer llamas?" Eric said with confusion, not realizing what's going on. Oh, Farmer Llama. Ha, of course, Eric realized. So they paid the llama and went back to Cap-Tap's ship, ready to go home. The ride was a bit bumpy because the fat bastard never stops drinking. Eric and Norman arrive home just in time for tea. Norman cooks the chicken while Eric sits at his favourite chair, awaiting his dinner. After a few minutes, they began to eat their feast. As expected, it was as perfect as a good roasted, well-made and perfectly chosen turkey. But let's not ruin their fun now.